Good morning, brothers and sisters. I have shared about drawing near to the Lord. Remember, when you hear the message, my recording or reading some spiritual books, all these things cannot be replaced by the time you come before the Lord. Even the anchor points, a short chat with the Lord, still cannot be compared with your special moment with the Lord alone. You can look for some special place to come before Him. It is very good, though you only have a very short time. I hope you can take a longer time to go to somewhere nice during the weekend or during your holiday, to come close to Him alone. When you draw near to the Lord, you can experience His love deeper. You will have a fresh experience which is not by the knowledge that God is love. The Lord is living. You can get in touch with His Spirit. You can have the spiritual interaction between you and the Lord. Therefore, it is not the nourishment from the message, but the Lord nourishes your spirit personally and kisses your spirit. So when you draw near to the Lord, it is not just reading the Bible, but He really longs to be face to face with you, to be close to you. When we draw near Him, He surely will draw near to us. When we sing the hymns and worship Him, when we express our love to Him, He surely enjoys the most. It is not the psychological effect that we are comforting ourselves, for these cannot settle our spirit. If the Lord is not real, and we cannot draw near to Him in reality, there is no way that our spirit can be settled or be nourished. If you're not coming to Him, then you're depending on yourself to fix your spirit, which doesn't work either. The Lord is so real. You need to spend time to come before Him, to come to Him and stay in His love. Remember, the way we come before Him is the real nourishment to us, and only we come to Him this way is the nourishment which can satisfy our spirit, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Brothers and sisters, I hope we have time to come before the Lord. Brothers and sisters, the verses I'd like to share with you is in Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 32 to 33. And it said, "But though he cause grief, He will have compassion according to the abundance of His steadfast love. For He does not afflict from His heart or grieve the children of men." The suffering in the world is not easy to have the solution. But when we think of the love of God, and the Lord nailed it for us on the cross, as well as He left His love-riven side on His risen body, one day we can see Him. We can see His wounds with our eyes. Actually, all the problems have their perfect answers in Him. I believe nobody will doubt about the questions of our sufferings on earth. We will not be doubtful for God's love to us. Here it mentioned, He caused grief. He will have compassion according to the abundance of His steadfast love. His ultimate purpose is to have compassion to us. Even it will cause grief, but the purpose of God will have compassion on us. It is so precious that all the sufferings is a light momentary affliction, is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. The Bible also mentioned, after you have suffered a little while, God will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Simply speaking, suffering is to mold us to become more glorious and to be strengthened. The Bible said, He does not afflict from His heart or grieve the children of men. According to the original scripture, God is not willing to cause man to grieve. It's true, God rather to bear the grief Himself. even suffered the deepest and the greatest pain, in order we can be delivered from pain and to gain the eternal happiness. Brothers and sisters, if you are suffering, I hope you know that this is not the ultimate purpose of God. I hope you also know your suffering is only momentary. He will come to explain all the sufferings to us. He wants you and me to receive glory with Him together, to gain the greatest happiness. I'd like to tell you a story. There was a little boy who has lost both of his legs because of the traffic accident. This made him very depressed. It was the end of the world to him. He looked at the children running around happily through the window all the time. But what he could do was to sit there. He has a sister who was a teacher. She has spent a lot of time to counsel him and to comfort him. But it didn't work. She also gave him a lot of books to read and study so that he was well educated. But it didn't work either. He hates those books and put the books to the corner. His sisters were so worried. One day, his sisters were so excited and said to him, "Look, see the house on the opposite road?" Then the little brother looked at the house and said, "It's just a house with the lighting on." The sister asked, "Do you know who lived there?" "No," the sister continued. "There was a little girl who has paralyzed for years. She is so active and valued her time so much. She tried her best to learn a lot of things. She writes a lot of her articles and publishes it. She stays awake until 11 o'clock at night." The boy heard what his sister had said. He was so ashamed. He should learn from the little girl. So he decided to study hard as well. When he was so tired, he looked at the lights of the house in the opposite side. He felt that the little girls is still working. Then he better work hard as well. He studied until the light of the house is off in the opposite side. Then he would go to sleep. Until one day, the sister has passed away for saving her students who fell in the river and lost her life. The little boy was so depressed. His sisters was the one who helped him to stand up again. But now she has left him, and the little girl lived in the opposite side. He must go to see her. The next day, he put himself in a wheelchair and went to visit the little girl who lived in the opposite side. He knocked the door, but the lady at the next door opened the door and asked, "Hello, can I help you?" The little boy said, "I'm looking for the little girl living in this house." "The little girl? There's nobody lives here." "But why there was light on every night?" "Because there was a young lady has rented this room. She said she wouldn't live here, but asked me to turn on the light on every night from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The boy heard it, and he burst into tears and said to himself, "Sisters, you have lighted up my lamp in my heart when I was in the dark." He was not complaining anymore, for he knew his sisters' well-intended efforts. Though his sisters was he no more, and that little girl was not exist, but the lamp in his heart has enlightened. He found his suffering was not the greatest. He felt he has the happiness in him. He worked very hard and hoped he could be a lamp of other people's heart. Brothers and sisters, I hope we can see our Abba and the Lord have the well intentions on us to plan for our lives in order we can be the blessing and the help for many, to light up this world. When we are afflicted, we can comfort those who are in affliction as well. May the Lord bless us.